Ah, dearie, dearie me. Can never do things the easy way, can we? Can never ever do things the easy way. We're back, and not United, me, Hot Fuzz, United can't be back. We can never be back. Not until like things actually start, you know, start to get serious at the club. Until then, we are sort of not really anywhere, to be honest. But it is match reaction time. I am going to try and keep it a little bit more short and sweet, but moral of the story, as the stream title would suggest, Onana, more like oh no no. Some of those goalkeeping errors, my lord, they were bad. They were hella bad, stupendously bad. Now, maybe they don't happen, right? Just to put it out there, maybe they don't happen if Bruno Fernandes doesn't concede a free kick twice over in pretty much the same position as from both free kicks they scored from. Now, first one, maybe Onana's a bit more unsighted, less of a judgment on it. Maybe not maybe the third goal, not third goal, second goal from the free kick again. I mean, man gets the ball underneath him and just bounces off him here, underneath him, back into the net again. And it's like, man, can never do things. Things can never be simple, right? It should be a straightforward save, right? It should. It should. It should be. It should be simple stuff. Um, Adam Saunders, big up to you, man. Onana didn't help, but Ten Hag's tactical stubbornness cost us again. To be honest, in various elements to the setup of the game, I can see perhaps where maybe I mean, looking at the way in which they had a lot of opportunities to really sort of break away from our defensive line felt like it was a little bit deeper than usual. But one thing I just did not enjoy watching about various aspects of that game was the amount of times that ball is just when we pass it around, it's very long distance, it's very high paced, and when it reaches its target man, it just bounces off them. Yeah, it just bounces off them. It's difficult control. First touches are not there. It looks scrappy, and it's like there's no real sense of control. So I wasn't comfortable watching that at any point. No point in that game was I comfortable watching Man United play. And the midfield is still far too open. It is. And I'm sort of swaying a little bit, sort of a balance between us not having the players that we need to play, ideally to what the manager wants. But I'm also swaying it to it being, but manager, there are ways that you can solidify that midfield to close it off a bit more. And we do need some vast improvements in that midfield. There is no doubt about it. But there are things you can help. There are matters that you can help about that. But I think with as far as the key moments of this game are concerned, for me, Onana, he had to do better. If he does better on, I'd say both those free kicks, and I think with the third goal as well. I mean, it was a breakaway goal. I think it was Kobe Mainu. He was the bloke, the Galatasaray player was up against, and he shoots it. Yeah, it's a hard hit effort, right? And it goes high near post, and it's like, should Onana be catch? Should he be getting a glove to that? For me personally, if it's gone to near post, goalkeepers, as we usually say, goalkeepers just don't go get beaten at near post. Just don't go get beaten at near post. Sometimes he's got to swallow his pride and play two CDMs, especially at 3-1. At that point, Adam, at 3-1, you would usually see as an away team that you start to control the game more, that you concentrate on delivering the result. Don't worry about needing to go score your fives, six, and sevens. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. If you focus on the defensive, on your defensive concentration first, some of those breakaways can happen because that's what you do when you invite a bit of pressure. That team that you're playing against just gradually gets higher and higher and higher, and that's the thing. Galatasaray, man, even when we were constantly in transition back and forth, the defenses never were able to get high enough, right? They were constantly relatively deep, but even then, one or two balls were opening spaces, and that Galatasaray team was there to be got at big time. And again, for maybe it's various different ways to say influence the game, to influence the result, um, various different um, various different things that we could have done in the tactical approach to that game. Maybe just to invite more of the pressure from Galatasaray to then illustrate a break, because we do have pace in the attack. I mean, Garnacho, the amount of times he got down the left, by the way, that also, by the way, his goal, fantastic finish. Again, near post, but very high and very driven. Very powerful shot. Bruno Fernandes, what a bloody goal. With Scott McTominay, again, when he gets into the box and he arrives late, the ball comes to him, he's got one thing on his mind, and that's get the ball in the back of the net. And he's actually really decent at doing that. But for me, I'll look at everything else on the pitch. Where else does he, connect the dots for us? He just arrives late in the box, and every time he gets the ball, it's practically a guaranteed goal. And some that might be good enough for some. For me, I want to see if Scott McTominay's playing as one of the two CDMs that we have on the pitch. If he's playing in that role, or as one of your sort of give and go type CDMs, and I think that's probably more descriptive to what Ten Hag usually does, is a give and go double CDM pivot, whatever. Like, that's the thing. It's annoying. I have to, I had to introduce new tongue twisters to try and describe the new ways of modernizing football even more, to complicate matters beyond comprehension. And it's like, man, it's simple game. And Arsenal are absolutely ripping Lens a new one. It's not even 30 minutes and they're already 4-0 up. Literally, not joking, they're already 4-0 up. And that's the thing. It's just, I feel like there's various different things that I think, as Adam said, that manager, he could have done differently, but you can't take away from the fact that Andre and Onana, the fact is that various aspects of where we judge goalkeepers, right, where they make their bread, that it's like you just know so many more goalkeepers that could do better with those situations, and most specifically with that second free kick. Again, I wanted to think that Onana had found his confidence, had found his swagger, his groove, and that those howler mistakes were behind them. Unfortunately, it looks like that some habits of old have resurfaced themselves. Taib, good to see you, man. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. My team, not so much. Hopefully, well, yeah, hopefully they stay not so good, but not get worse, because I can't imagine that there won't be some things thrown at a team bus whilst they've left the stadium. But also to the travelling supporters. Hopefully everyone gets back safely. Because with I think it was with Newcastle away at PSG. PSG fans, sometimes they can cause a stir up, but hopefully everyone gets back safe. Longhead Yeti, good to see you, man. Big ups to you too, and everybody saying hello to each other. Make sure you're smashing the likes, people. We're on 3 likes. See if we can try and squeeze it up to 10 by the end of the stream. Let's try and see if we can push it. See if we can push it, and all of that good stuff. But yeah, man, not not spectacular, but I'll say this, not horrendously bad, not terrible. There's things that you can work with here, but there's a lot of things that it's just like it's more of the same. These things won't get fixed. We've got we've got so much work to do, right? We do. We've got so much work, but there are various things that we can take away and say, look, that was good. You know, those were good. I thought Bruno, I don't think had a bad game at all. I thought he was actually probably one of the better performers, if not best performer on the pitch across 90 minutes. Thought he was right up there. Garnacho again, hard working on the left hand side, scored a goal, kept trying and trying, get more chances, more creation. Anthony didn't really offer that much, just ran with the ball on the byline, on the touchline a few times. Never really got into dangerous areas per se. Obviously, Onana, absolute howler of a game, one to forget. I wouldn't even stick that in the archives. Let's just stick it in the burn up pile straight away. We can skip the folders for that. Just go straight in the paper shredder, straight in the burn up pile. But you know what? The defense, I felt like it's not a pacey defense, and it had a tough time playing a higher line, getting caught out various times with the ball through the middle. Icardi, they tried to stretch the play, use the fullbacks a fair bit, more predominantly down the right-hand side. Ziyech, Ziyech is not, he's not usually, well, he's not really renowned for any pace whatsoever, but very technical. And I think the fact that we gave up 2 easy free kicks in very dangerous positions, very, very dangerous positions, it was asking for trouble. It was asking for trouble. And we got punished. We did get punished twice over. Luke Shaw, I thought his first touch tonight was not good. Wasn't that good. I think there's one opportunity in the first half where it was literally just the first touch would set him up to score a goal that would have made it 3-0. Very central position with the inverted run. And the ball came nicely to him, just didn't control it. And I thought various elements, a lack of that first touch control, and it spoiled a big chance for him, and that's a shame. It is a big shame. Could have had Luke Shaw on the score sheet, and unfortunately not to be. On the other side of things, Wan-Bissaka, I thought, defensively, I think based off of the centre backs being slow, or us being quite open in midfield, I think a lot of free runners for Galatasaray tonight. A lot of free runners, and maybe quite fortunate to not concede more goals. Perhaps I think there's probably quite a few people that might be saying that. Fortunate to not concede more. For me, I feel a little bit like that. It's like with Everton. They should have scored quite a few goals. They didn't, but that was because Onana was that good. We've conceded 3 goals more or less because Onana was that bad. It's crazy. It's like you go from one extremity from one end to the absolute extremities down the other end, and it's absolutely mental, crazy. swing, the crazy swing of things, and I'm hoping it's not a sign of things to come. But then again, if it is, then I think it's Newcastle away we got next. I mean, I'm dreading that game, but if that's a sign of things to come, maybe Onana goes to have the best goalkeeping performance on the planet. Who knows? Um, but yeah, that's definitely a game to forget for Onana. Harry Maguire, Lindelof, I think not really the case to say that they were atrocious. Just slow centre backs playing a high line. You're going to get caught out if you get pacey attackers against you. It's just the letter of the law with the game. It's just what you expect. Usually, high lines don't, have slow centre backs playing in them. They're usually pacey centre backs versus pacey attackers. Like Alessandro Martinez would have been quite a big hit in this game. Maybe Rafael Varane as well. Like those two players, I think could have if that's the defensive partnership. And I'll tell you what, I think this team is definitely missing Alessandro Martinez. I think it doesn't change the fact that our midfield is still crap. That's without a doubt. Our midfield is still crap, but there's something missing from that defensive line. It seriously feels like it, and I don't know how everybody else feels about that. If everyone else is feeling that void in that back line left by Martinez, for me, I feel like that there's that little spark, that little bit of fire with Martinez at the back. And I'll tell you what, um, I thought I had to check. I'll just see on Twitter a David De Gea parody account saying never conceded 30 goals in 15 matches, which is true. David De Gea never conceded that amount of goals ever at any stage in his career. He was never that. Um, he never had a record that bad. But well, apparently, according to beIN Sports, Galatasaray's first goal should not have counted because the distance between the wall and Hakim Ziyech was not long enough. The legal distance must be a full meter. Is that referring to Galatasaray players, or I don't understand that. I don't understand that. I'm not going to bother reading into it. Um, who else should I talk about with this performance? Amrabat. To be fair, Amrabat maybe defensively susceptible. Again, quite relatively isolated. I don't think Scott McTominay was, you know, as involved defensively. I think the transition from back to front for Galatasaray was quite direct. So it was bypassing. It would have meant that either or with Scott and Sofian that way they would have to be running back quite consistently and with quite definitive pace. Which pace is not something Scott McTominay really has. Amrabat has more so, um, and I think we saw a bit of that. I mean, Amrabat holding on to the ball a little bit longer, not trying to get rid of it quickly. Just carrying the ball a little bit. Unfortunately, it wasn't carrying the ball forward. It's more carrying it side to side. And I suppose that's one of the things that will generally happen when passing options don't become available. And maybe Scott McTominay is to blame for that because technically he is one of the key passing lanes, or Bruno Fernandes making himself more open. I think, that I think it's things like that for me, and I've noticed it a lot with United, is that passing options, the availability for players to pass to each other is so lackluster. so unbelievably lackluster. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I've seen a couple times with our clearances, with the fullbacks or centre backs when they get forced wide into the fullback positions when they have the ball, that they clear it, they send a long ball into the middle of the pitch. Sometimes it's not got much height to it. Maybe it's not, usually it's quite low down, so it's easily intercepted. But I'm thinking, but I can't see the vision of that pass. I don't understand why you're playing that pass, why it's not placed. There's no placement to it. It's just, let's hit the ball aimlessly into that area of the pitch. Maybe Hoyland or someone is there to receive it. And for me, Hoyland is also then tactically instructed to sit closer to the defensive line where he can make the run off the shoulder. And yeah, we didn't see an awful lot of that. It was predominantly the wingers that were given that space to run. I think Hoyland, was unfortunate with a big chance that he had in the first half as well. But man, there's a lot that could have, should have happened in that game. Plenty of things that we should have done differently as well. And yeah, man, not great, not great. As for the substitutions, Kobe Minu came on for Sofian Amrabat. What we need came on. Didn't really fix anything defensively in the midfield at all. Still had the same problems, but again, I think it was just more of a case of just get minutes for Kobe Minu in the first team. Just see what he does, see what changes. At that point, Amrabat was on a yellow card, so maybe there was a thought in mind that perhaps if there's a lot of pressure and a lot of quick transitions, that there's going to be a lot of fouls given. So maybe there was a bit of that in mind. Diogo Dalot came on for Wan-Bissaka. Not really going to change an awful lot. I think, again, just trying to like-for-like switch kind of ordeal. Garnacho went off for Facundo Pellistri. I liked Pellistri. I do want to see him play. Not sure why it wasn't Anthony that came off, because I think with Garnacho, I liked Garnacho's performance in that he was constantly just trying all sorts of things. He was up and down the wing. He was there in the various defensive situations as well. So he did have a good head on his shoulders this game. Quite aggressive, trying to match, fight fire with fire. And I like that sort of attitude and personality from Garnacho. That is, that fighter instinct. And we usually get that in abundance from guys like Lisandro Martinez. And as I said previously, it feels like that there is something missing from that back line with Martinez being out. Geordie, away the lads, feeling a bit bruised and battered after the late controversy in the PSG game. And to be honest, Geordie, mate, that wasn't a penalty. That wasn't a penalty. We had a similar situation with I think it was also on Wolfgang Division's channel that we did a show a little bit earlier today. That it feels like that sort of handball is just something that's given in Europe now. I think regardless of what happens, if it's given, like if the ball touches an illegal part of the body, they will just give it, even if the rules state that it shouldn't, they will just give it. We had the same situation with Lisandro Martinez in the Europa League last season against Real Sociedad, where we lost that game 1-0, and it was because of a penalty there, where the ball strikes, or the I think it was Sorloth might have struck the ball against, or somebody for Real Sociedad struck the ball. It comes off Martinez's leg because he goes to defend it low. it bounces up, but his arm is tucked next to his body, but the ball comes and touches him on the elbow here and then goes up, and everyone's like, hey, that's a penalty, even though technically it wasn't, because it literally hits the leg first and then goes up onto the arm, but the arm was tucked. With you, it's similar situation, instance, close range, the ball gets fired against Livramento, bounces off the torso, on then to the arm, and it's like, even if I had Superman's reaction time, that ball still probably hits my arm when it bounces off my torso, because I'm not thinking if I'm going to block this shot or cross with my torso. If that's the intention, I'm not planning for this ball to hit my arm. I'm not planning for that. I'm planning to stop the cross or stop a shot with a legal part of my body. I'm not thinking about my arms here, right? And that sometimes goes through players' minds, is getting the arm, using arms for leverage in a situation, but putting it into bad locations or bad positions. In that case, the defender is not deciding to use his arm at any point in that passage of play. He's using the legal part of his body. The ball ricochets off the legal part and accidentally bounces by chance. It's a chance thing. Hits the arm. And it's a similar situation, man. But as far as refereeing or officiating decisions, I can't really say that there was anything quite, bad about the officiating performance here. I thought it was, quite in various aspects of quite a physical game, um, and a few cautions here or there. We got 4 yellow cards this game. They got 2. A lot of challenges, a lot of stronger challenges, and I thought it was a bit more of a feisty game. And the referee, I think, probably letting a little bit go, just a little bit. Knowing when to caution a player, knowing when to blow for the foul. And no crazy VAR controversy either. No crazy VAR where everyone's just like, oh my god, I can't believe they're officials, they messed up. Like, I don't think there's any conversation for that tonight. And thank God, for a modern day football fan, we're not sat here talking about VAR 24/7 as a big part to play in our result. It didn't. It was just, you might as well phrase it like this: shit happened. Shit happened, and that's kind of the way the cookie crumbles in this aspect. But let me know what you guys think about this game, what your feelings were about the match, and what are your points to take away from this? Are you sort of feeling like there are positives to take away from this? Are you feeling like I'm not really seeing the bright side of life in this aspect? Or are you feeling like, this is just further cementing the fact that we've now got to beat Bayern to have even the slightest remote chance of getting anything whatsoever from Champions League? And I'll tell you what, it could still go completely against the grain of Man United, because currently at halftime it is Bayern 0, Copenhagen 0. They are drawing at the moment, and Copenhagen could still get something. They could, right? It's not out of the realms of possibility. Tommy T has under-delivered before. Could happen again here. So yeah, we could our night tonight could get worse. It could legitimately get worse here. But anyways, big ups to everybody for tuning in. Thank you for liking the stream. If you haven't done so already, please do. It massively helps the channel out. And also subscribe. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Again, as I've said, helps the channel out massively. And I really do appreciate all the love and support you guys do show this channel. Also, big ups to all the regulars that do frequently stop by as well. Massive contributors to this chat, well, to this channel, but also to the chat and the conversations that go on. Big ups to Geordie. Obviously, go show him a little bit of love, just a little bit, because it is Newcastle still, right? Just show him a little bit of love after last night. Big ups to Longhaired Yeti as well. Had another episode of A View from the Cave done earlier today. Do be sure to go and check that out on his channel and also subscribe to him. Taib Hussein, big ups to you, man. A frequent chatter. Do see him around in quite a few stream chats. Very nice guy, very legit person. So also show him some love as well. And Adam Saunders, I've seen you a few times before, and always a pleasure to entertain your comments in the chat as well. So big ups to everybody. Thank you very much for watching. And man, it's Newcastle next. Newcastle. I'm pretty sure it's Newcastle next. If it's not, then do correct me, please. But thank you for everyone for watching, and yeah, we'll see you again real soon. Take care, goodbye, and come on, United.